some real life test of this knife. So here we have two different Gerbers. This is the all black version, my favorite, but the price of it is just too steep. Well, it's not steep, it's just 15 bucks. 15, that is. On the other hand, we have the silver one. This one was super on sale for only 6 bucks. $6.99 to be exact. And this is the #1 selling, best selling clip folding knife sold by Gerber for a reason. This is the package it comes originally with. So it features clip point blade, nickel nail nickel, fine edge pocket clip, and the flame lock for safety functions. Let's find out how sharp this thing is, especially if it's being used for what it needs to be used for, which is cutting packages, for me anyways. This is not the sharpest knife in the book. Does it actually cut? Yes. You have to use pretty much lots of force to cut this with. But it does cut. It will do the job. For a cheap knife, this is good. Was I expecting more from this? Not really. But definitely this is not the best knife for cutting those things. You have to use way too much force to cut this, and that is not something I'm happy with. The price is good, can't complain about that. Of course, you might actually ask, would the silver one, since it's cheaper, would this be just as good to cut this with? Or actually worse? Technically they should be about the same. There's absolutely no difference between the lack of quality between both of those knives. They're just both not that good. But when it comes to something super cheap and to get the job done, you can't go wrong with those knives. A knife is a knife. It's still a good knife. It will get the job done. All it needs to do is one thing, and that's it. Cut the stuff you need it to cut. And I am not going to give this too much of a good grade for this. This is like a 6 out of 10. It's pretty hard. It really has a hard time cutting this. And you know what? They should have thought about this themselves. When you make a package and you put the knife in there, the package itself should have actually been used to demonstrate the efficiency of those knives. Now compare this to the Spyderco. Notice the difference. Easier. Cuts it so much better. There's a lot less power you have to put into the knife to get this to cut with this edge right here. The delicate edge is really not made for this. That's why you should have a knife that has a and features both of them, the surrogate and the sharp blade. And with the sharp blade, you can really see this really does cut it much more better and more efficient. Although, to be fair, this is not the easiest material to cut, but you can see how well this knife actually does it. And that is a really huge difference between both of those. So overall, Spyderco wins once again, but in terms of price, $100 for this versus 7 to about 16, which is $6, 17, about 100. You definitely get what you're paying for. Now, to be fair here, it doesn't seem like it comes too sharpened out of the box. So maybe what you need to do, sharpen it up just a little bit. And now, just test it out again. I could see a little bit of cutting improvement here. Not too much, but definitely a bit of improvement by sharpening it all by myself. So it doesn't seem like it comes too sharpened, but if you do sharpen it yourself, the blade does seem to get much better use out of it, for sure. So I'm gonna do real life testing right now of this knife. Wow. Wasn't expecting this to be this good. It's a cheap piece of knife. Oh, something like that. It does work. So this is the Gerber Paraframe. It is pretty small knife, but it is a very useful and awesome knife that I really like. It is about 3 inches in size. Opening it up, it's a little bit hard to open. This gets us about 5 inches of real estate and just 2 inches of actual blade for it. So definitely on the mini side. The minuses in the process of this knife. It comes in 2 different variations. One all silver that is going right now on Amazon for only $7, which is super cheap. The black version that I have in my hand, this is a $16 or $15 version. It is a little bit on the expensive side for what it is. And this is definitely a cheap knife. So to fold it, you press this button right here. Everything here is super stiff and it folds. What I like about this is this primitive cool looking handle. It's actually pretty cool in your hand. You can actually put this in your hand, which is kind of nice. One hand open doesn't exist with this knife, unfortunately. But this knife is not really designed for one hand opening. Two hands is what you need to open this. That's one of the reasons it's super cheap. It does feature a clip in the back here. It's not that easy to open it too. But what do you expect for something this cheap? Once you open it, the grip is pretty good. And this thing is kind of sharp. How sharp is it? Let's go ahead and test it out. Not bad, it did cut this. It is cutting. Yes, it's a knife. It's supposed to cut. But how good does it cut? It does leave a mark. Now, if we go up the scale and get this, which is super dry piece of wood, not bad. It does work. You have to put a lot of pressure on it for it to do this, but it does work. It does leave its mark, and the blade can take some abuse. So this is not a bad knife, by the way. And in case you need to sharpen it up, get a sharpener and sharpen it up a bit in case you want to. So overall, the palette knife made by Gerber is a fancy looking, cool little knife that you can use for small little activities that you might need an emergency small knife with. And if you can get this, the silver version, for $7, that is a good price for what it is. The issues of it is, of course, this blade. Once you spent it and it gets dull, it's not going to be able to, for you, to go ahead and sharpen it up. It's not made for it. It's a one-time use knife. After it goes bad, it goes bad. Over here you can see that you can get pretty dirty pretty easily, because all the stuff that goes in here is going to go right inside of here. This is one of the downsides of it. The good upside of it is that you can use those little clips if you have the tools, and you can take this out and you can clean it in case you need to. This overall very small knife is super handy, super small, super cool looking, includes a clip, and it is great for the price. Recommend it just because of its value proposition. So out of 10 stars, I'll give this a 7, given this is cheap and given it's not going to give you everything that you need in a blade, and yet it is pretty good and it does its job. Let's see. Found a use for it. And another cool thing that you can do with this, I'll show you right now. Put this right here, like this. Failed. Not only that, I got it stuck in here. And yes, I was able to get it out, but it did get ripped eventually. Overall, it's a cool, fun knife. I enjoyed it, I like it, and I do recommend it for you to get. It's cool.